Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a layout with this photo of my little daughter that was taken just after Christmas last year. Her grandparents bought her this beautiful little castle, and I decided to use a cut file from Virginia Walker's Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files Etsy shop. It's this beautiful castle file, and as soon as I saw this castle file I knew I wanted to use it to scrap this photo of my daughter. So I've gone ahead and backed the cut file. As you can see, I've used this paper pad from the Reject Shop. It's a craft store brand here. I believe elsewhere in the world it's Rosie Studio brand. I'm not sure what the collection is, unfortunately. This 12 by 12 pack is from the same brand. It's Rosie Studio. I think Under the Sea, something like that, is a collection. It is sort of ocean themed. I'm going to use, I guess, ocean themed papers, but it doesn't really look ocean themed by the time I'm finished with it. So, and I really like this blue paper, even though it has that ginormous seashell down the bottom. So I'm going to cover that part up, but I really like the blue. It's got a very faint stripe in the background, and I liked those sort of plants twisting out from the side. So I'm going to use this, just make it work for me. So I'm going to back my cut file with some foam. I'm just sort of getting a rough idea of how I want to, what shape I need to back that. So this is just a single-sided adhesive craft foam from Spotlight. And now I'm going to use this paper to create sort of my ground, I guess, because it has those plants all over it. And I really like that, that deep navy sort of really pops up off that light blue background. It did tear a little bit jagged, as you can see. It's on the thinner side, this paper. It is very cost effective, but unfortunately it is a little bit thin. So it did take me a little while to tear that exactly how I wanted. I'm going to do a couple of layers of it here. So I'm just sticking that down with some double-sided tape. And I'm going to come in with the second piece and just cover up that big shell. So I still want those purple like plants growing out. I guess it's supposed to be seaweed, but on this page it's it's plants. So there we go, my ground is all down. I'm going to go ahead and start trimming my photo. I try to trim as much of it as I can without cutting. I mean, I don't want to cut out any of the castle, and I don't want to cut out any of my daughter, but it was a 4x6, so it was rather large. But I do get it down quite a bit smaller. I think I only back my photo with tissue paper. I could be completely wrong. It's actually been a while since I made this layout. I made it quite a while ago. I'm pretty behind on my editing, so I am trying feverishly to catch up, but I have exams coming up, so I won't be catching up anytime soon. I'm just folding it over to have a double layer. I'm going to trim 3 sides, and the top I'm just going to tear, so it just gives a bit more of a soft, not so harsh effect. And that's where my photo is going to go, just right in the top of that castle there. So I'm just adhering my photo to my cut file. I don't want to glue anything to the background until I know it's where I want it. So that's a good way to keep stuff from moving. Okay, these are sort of chipboard craft. They're not thickers. They're from Kmart. So they're just cheap sort of craft chipboard alphas. They are adhesive, but I do add some wet glue as well. I'm going to do some heat embossing here. What I want is gold glitter. The glitter embossing powder I have is not great, so I'm going to first heat emboss with just normal metallic gold. And you can see that I used my clear Versamark embossing ink to stamp. Well, you need like a sticky ink to wet if you're going to use embossing powder, so you need a sticky ink to wet the whatever you're embossing, and then the ink, not the ink, the powder goes on. Then you use your heat tool to melt it, and it ends up solid and hard. If you've never done heat embossing before, yeah, if you have, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I've gone in with the normal gold, and then I did the glitter on top, and I did a couple of coats of the glitter. And now I'm coming in with some white. These are white stickers from Kaiser Craft. They're really great. I love these stickers. I'm just going to use the white ones to spell out Christmas, and then my glitter alphas will have Princess. Right there. So there we go, putting on a bit of wet glue. The embossing powder sort of does take off a bit of the sticky as well, because you're bound to get some powder on the back. It does stick to that adhesive, so a bit of wet glue is always a good insurance. Now I'm going to add a couple of cute little rhinestones. I love to do this on anytime I have a cut file that has a door on it or a window or something. I add little rhinestones as little door handles, and those needed a little dab of glue as well. Okay, I have some rainbows here. These are from Simply Gilded. They're a washi company, but when they do their subscription boxes, quite often they'll be extras. And in this one, obviously, I got some sticky notes and I got this sheet of sticker seals as well. So I'm just cutting that little rainbow out of the packet. I don't want to peel it off the backing yet because they're super sticky. So I've just sort of stuck that on there on its backing paper. I'm starting to pull out some die cuts. These are sort of from a few different collections. Most of them are Rosie Studio. A couple of them are completely random that I just had lying around. Most of them I'm going to go through and fussy cut off the border. On those pot plants I fussy cut off the white border. And then this is a completely different collection from the Reject Shop, but this sheet has a bunch of little cactus in pots, so I'm going to cut those out as well, so fussy cut them out. I don't know, I liked the plants around the bottom of the castle there. So I'm gluing some down. A couple of the little pots I'm going to pop up on some foam just to add a bit more dimension. You guys know I like a lot of dimension on my scrapbook layouts. Go. I am going to glue these down to the cut file. Please excuse me if you can hear those doors slamming. My children have no concept of being quiet. Just getting those arranged how I want them. Gluing those to the cut file. I'm not gluing anything to the background just yet. Okay, now I'm going to work on my little sort of, I guess, background plants. I don't know, this layout just really evolved as I was going. I really didn't plan it, just sort of started happening. So I wanted to add some of these green ivy sort of leaves because they match the purple ones on the left side of the cut file. So I'm adding a couple of those in on this side along with that purple. I think it's meant to be coral, that purple one, but I don't know, I like it. And then I'm going to slip another couple of the green ones over on this side just to sort of make it a bit more cohesive on both sides. There we go. Just adding a little bit of wet glue behind all those. So those are the first things that are getting glued down to the background. There's nowhere else they can really go, so I'm pretty comfortable gluing those. This little princess, it's totally random. I found her in a random pack of, it was like those scrapbooking kits you used to be able to get 100 years ago. She was in that, and I wasn't going to use her in anything else. She's kind of like a rocker chick, and she's holding a microphone. I managed to tuck most of that out of where you can't see it, and so she's now just a little princess poking her head through the window, and I thought that was really cute with her little crown. I love that unicorn looking out of the other window. Really love that. So now I'm starting to glue. So I'm just gluing my cut file to that sticky note there. Okay, same with my photo. I tried this tag for my journaling spot, but I just couldn't quite get it to work. But then I found this one. I realized the inside popped out of that die cut, so I'm going to use that for my journaling spot. I'm going to pop in this "You Are a Treasure" little die cut. Super cute. Because she is. I like this flamingo. I did have to, I think I trimmed off the outside and I had to cut off his legs so he'd fit under there nicely. Go. And that cloud is actually from the Kaisercraft Hide and Seek collection. So here I have my journaling. I did print it out twice just in case it didn't go right the first time, but it was fine. So I just printed it out really small and sort of guessed where the end would be tucking underneath the castle where you couldn't see it. So you can see I've sort of staggered the text. And it worked out perfectly, amazingly. First try, that almost never happens. I'm just sort of going to put it behind the frame like it's a framed picture. I really like that. Just tucks back there. Just nicely. I don't know, it kind of goes with that whole fairy tale vibe I have going on, I guess. Now these die cuts are from the Carpe Diem collection by Rosie Studio. They're just gold glitter die cuts. They're really, really pretty and sparkly. So I'm just going to add those as a bit of an accent on either side of my castle. And this one I'm just I'm trimming off some of the leaves so I can get it in there looking kind of natural. I do move that down a little bit there. Yep, that's where it ends up. Just trying to fill in some of that empty space there. And now I'm going to glue all this down. Look at that mess. There is such a big mass of stuff here. I'm just going to put a bit of glue behind everything and then stick it down. There we go. All those stars end up coming off. I thought they were a bit much, and they're meant to be starfish really, so they kind of looked a bit silly. Okay, now I'm going in with my Craft Gold Shimmer Mist. I love this gold mist. It's really, really pretty. Just splattering that all over the lighter blue part of the sky. And then I am just trimming off that bit of the unicorn that's sort of poking out the side of the castle. It would have been a lot easier to do this before I stuck it down, but I completely forgot about it, so my trusty tweezers helped me there. I'm doing a top cluster only because I forgot to put in my date. So I'm just putting the year with these gold little stickers. They're gold glitter. And I just want the year because I know it's Christmas, so I don't really need a date. I think it was maybe Boxing Day or the day after. So I'm also going to use these little, I think they're called Glossies by Rosie Studio. They're kind of like Flair, but they're cardboard and sort of resin. They're not metal. So that's all done. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like it and give me a sub if you aren't subscribed already, and I'll see you next time. Bye.